Okay, so let's update our templates. So I'm going to go over to my templates directory. And so we want to actually specify that we're including the token, the activation token in our welcome message. So let's start off with the plain text version. And one thing I want to do, I don't want to call this ID anymore. I'll simply call this user ID. Okay, so we're going to call this user ID. Okay, so let's change this and let's simply say down here, please send a request to the I'm going to use put /v1 /users /activated. Okay, so this is the URL that the user must activate their token, their account on. Okay, so they'll have to say put and users activated. Okay, and of course the body will be, they'll send a body which contains the JSON. Okay, so end point, okay, with the following JSON body to activate your account. Okay, and so the body will simply be token, and then we're going to have activation token. Okay, and close that and close that. Okay, so this is our body. I'm going to copy this since I'm going to need this as well for the HTML version. All right, so this will be provided in the email. We're telling them what to do. It's going to be a put. We're telling them what is the URL, what is the resource location, and then of course we're telling them what the body should be. It should be token and it should be the value that we provide to them. So I'm going to come down here. Of course, again, this is no longer ID. We will call this user ID. Okay, so user ID. And then I'm going to simply come down here. And then, of course, I'm going to use a paragraph. So please send a request to the, okay, I'm going to make this be a code tag. All right. And then, of course, you're going to end the code tag here, /code. Good. Followed with the following. Okay, let me go up here and fix that. Okay, so let's close this. Great, that's our paragraph. Oops, /. And then for the activation token, we're going to make that to be a code. So let's just do that. Then of course we will close that. And then we will close that. All right, just a bit of nice formatting. Okay. Okay, so that looks okay. So we simply need to now update our register user handler to be able to send these the ID and the activation token. So let me close that and let me go back to register handler. So where is my register? Where is my users here? Okay. So we have created the user, and so before we send the email, let's just create a token, which we will need to put in the email. So we create the user, we create a token, then we send that token via the email. So let's generate a token for the newly created user. All right, and so we have a function to do that for us. And so let's just do that. So I'm going to say token error, and we will say app.models.tokens.new, and that creates a new token. All we have to provide is the user ID and the time and the scope. It's easy enough. User.id. Let's say it will only be valid for 1 day. So how do we do 1 day? Well, it's going to be 1 times 24 times time dot hour. All right. So 24 times 1 hour is 1 day, and so times 1 is 1 day. If you wanted 2 days, we just put 2 days, but we want 1 day. Okay. Of course, we didn't need the 1, but we're making it explicit. And then, of course, we need to specify what kind of token it is. We're going to use our constant. So that is data dot scope activation. Right? Remember, this was a constant, so it's available in any file that is of the data, or it's exportable in a sense. Right? Good. So this is all we need. And so we will check for an error. So if error not nil, then we know something went wrong, and so we will simply return a server error. WR an error. And of course, we need to exit our handler. All right, that's straightforward. So we have our token here. Okay, and so before we send the email, let's use that token. Okay, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create, remember we need to send data, right? So where are we? Okay, right here. Okay, So all I'm going to do is to create some data to send, and so I'll create a map, and it's going to be a string. Okay, and since it can have different types, I'll just use interface. Okay, and then the first key will be activation token. Okay, and then that will simply have the value token dot plain text. Okay, and then we will have user ID. All right, that's what we call it in our template, and that will have the value user dot ID. Okay, and so we should be okay. Okay, so we will be sending the recipient, the template, and any data. Of course, we won't be sending data user anymore. We'll just be sending data. All right. Okay, so that looks okay. And so let's test this out. So let's start our server. Let me start my mail drop. Okay. All right, let's go back. Oh, okay. So seems I don't have internet. Let's try again. Good. I have internet. Good. Okay, so let's go back here and let's create a new user. So I'm going to create a new user called Betty Lewis, and let's send a request. Okay. All right. Activation is still false. We'll fix that later. But let's check to see if the email was sent. So yeah, we have Betty Lewis, and we have the token that was generated. All right, so let's have a look at that. This is the token. All right, and this is the endpoint that they need to use to activate their account. Great, so this works. So the last thing we need to do now is to actually, when the user provides the correct token using this endpoint, we have to make sure that we change activated field from false to true. So I'll see you in that next lesson.